What's up, everybody? Welcome to RiDetroit Weekly. I'm your host, Jason, the Jason of all trades on Instagram. Wow, I'm calling it. Even though it's not officially spring, spring has sprung in Detroit. It is like 45 degrees outside today. I've seen many a runner in shorts and t-shirts. Bikes are out. I am excited for the 2021 bike season. Man, oh man, the number one news of the moment, everyone. We did it. 104 subscribers. What did we have? Yes. I knew we could do it, everybody. We all hunkered down and we got it done. We are actually at 104 right now. So what we are going to do is we're going to record a video and we're going to draw that winner. And we're going to release that video, and all that stuff will be done for you next week. So you'll be able to see what's going on. I can't thank you enough. This means so much to me. People don't know what subscriptions. So for those who don't know, the subscription is really what connects you to, all the stuff, that the inner workings of YouTube. So every time we reach a different level, we either get more access or we get some other things that we're trying to work towards in the future, like being able to be mobile and things like that. So now that we've hit 100, now it's up to you to really kick in and help us. The next level, 500. So for this one, we gave away 50 bucks. The winner, I'm going to contact them. The deal is you can either keep the 50 bucks, or if you know somebody who needs it, I will deliver that 50 bucks to them. No questions asked. The next one, we haven't figured out what the prize is yet, but we're going for 500 here. So that means every time you watch this, you got to share it. You got to tell people how great of a show it is. You got to talk about how great the guests are. You really got to kick in to help us get to that 500, all right? So you're going to hit the subscribe button and work with us. And another thing we're trying to start right now is called Do You Ride with RiDetroit? So if you've ridden with us in the summer or you're riding your bike, go on Instagram, hashtag RiDetroit. Show everybody that you're riding with us and that we're getting ready for spring and summer, all right? Last week's guest, Steve Mers, came on, gave you guys $1 million worth of knowledge about precision fit and sizing on your bike and how it can really enhance your bicycle experience. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, it of course lives on our RiDetroit YouTube channel in the archives. Please give it a watch. It is awesome. I've been preaching for years that even the person who isn't the athlete or is just a casual rider, everybody needs to at least be fit so they get a proper understanding of how the bike is supposed to work. Because if you have an unfit bike and it's sized wrong, it will give you the worst bike experience. So check that video out. Go by Grosse Pointe American Cycle and Fitness. Talk to Steve, man, and get some more information. It can only help you out. I am so excited about this. I get so excited about every guest. But this next guest, we met years ago on the Michigan Policy Conference up at Mackinac. We immediately connected because we're both bike riders, but then we soon learned that we had a lot of other stuff in common. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, Chip Amoe. He is the Director of Sustainability for Henry Ford Health System. What's up, Chip?
What's up, Jason?
How are you, brother?
Good. Good to see you.
Man,
it's been a minute.
I know, right? Usually we have our summertime meetings where we hang out up at Mackinac, get some laps in up there. But man, with everything that's going on, they had to postpone it, so we didn't get our lap in on the island this year. But for those, like I said, who don't know, I met Chip, it's probably 4 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago, doing our first slow roll. So we were actually privileged enough to be invited to come up to Mackinac and not only do a lap, but show people, politicians from all over what we really do and the impact that we really make. So it was really fun being up there, and Henry Ford was one of the sponsors. So they definitely made it possible for us to come up there. So thank you, Chip. What have you been up to, man? Like I said, when I met you, you were the assistant director of government affairs. We were joking that you got mad titles, but now you're the director of sustainability for Henry Ford Health Systems. Explain to me, first of all, why the change, what the change, and what this all means.
Yeah, so thanks. So yeah, when my background has always been in government affairs and representing healthcare in before Congress and the state legislature. But I've always had a passion and an interest for sustainability, and specifically around the built environment. Prior to, I grew up in Michigan. Prior to living here, though, I was living down in Washington, D.C. for 8 years, where I worked there and wanted to move back to Michigan. And one of my goals was to help with the revitalization of the city. And one of the big factors was, if we're going to revitalize the city, let's do it with an eye towards health and wellness. And that connection between the built environment and health to me is really important. When I moved back to Michigan, one of the challenges that I had, I was gaining weight because I had to be in my car all the time. I didn't get to walk around and bike and that kind of stuff. And you quickly realize how important all of those things are. And so I just think that, we have a great opportunity here within the city, and then Henry Ford specifically, we've been, committed to the city for, hundreds of years or 100 years over now. And, really been, focused on community. And so to me is a great opportunity to make that connection between healthcare and the environment. So now I'm in charge of sustainability for the system, where I oversee everything from energy, waste, water, healthy foods, safer chemicals, all the things that we need to do to make us a greener health system and to help build healthier communities.
We talk about sustainability, health. Um, where do those things, sort of intersect? Like when you think of a health system, you don't necessarily think of bicycles, but you guys are very involved in. You brought the Mogos. You were working with those guys. So where do those things sort of intersect?
Right. Well, that's exactly it. I mean, Mogo was a perfect example where we had a partnership. I was helping early on in that process move us forward, and but that's a great opportunity to get people out and moving. I always say we can provide the best healthcare in the world within the four walls of our hospital. But if at the end of the day we send people home to the same unhealthy environments from which they came, they're going to be right back in again. And so it's really incumbent upon us that, as we're looking to manage the health of the populations that we serve, that we really start looking at what's causing people to be ill in the first place. Is it pollution? Is it lifestyle? Is it inactivity? Is it, there's a whole host of things, the social determinants of health, as we call them, that impact the health. There's a stat out there that says, 20% of your health and wellness is made up of the actual healthcare that you get. The other 80% is your environment and your life choices. And so, what my goal in my role is to try to help people make the healthy choice the easy choice, and make it more convenient for people to do that.
So it's got to be a challenge, when people talk about Detroit, one of the first things that comes up is our obesity rate. So, it's got to be a challenge to approach, these things in a place like Detroit. How do you get people out of their cars, the Motor City, how do we get people to change their way of thinking and get them on a bike?
Right. Well, I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, it's the legacy of our area. We're the Motor City, but we really need to look at starting to design roads and cities for people, and not for cars, and really to turn us from the motor city to the mobility city. And I think our auto industry has a big part in helping with that. I don't think it's a one over another. It's just how do you build balance into it, building complete streets. But it's also good for the economy, frankly, is that the more you build a city, right now, especially now, after COVID, people can work from anywhere. So where are they going to choose? Someplace that's nice with nice amenities and good, green space and parks and those kinds of things, or are they going to, choose someplace where they have to be holed up in their car? They want to be out and active, and so people are really choosing place first and then figuring out where they need to work. So we need to build for place, number one, And number two, that building for place actually has tremendous health benefits from the green space that we put in. We have a history of industrial pollution in Detroit from our manufacturing history. Um, those planting of trees do things like help to remediate the soil, get rid of the contaminants out of them, but it also cleans the air. So the more you have buffer zones, that helps reduce asthma rates. The more trees that you have, the more tree canopy you have. We're also seeing with climate change, you see an increase in the number of the heat-related illnesses, heat stroke, those types of things, and then a lot of your cardiac and diabetes and those types of illnesses are exacerbated when the temperature goes up. And if you don't have trees and green space in your city, um, it doesn't cool down the city. And it's been shown that you have higher temperature increases when you don't have trees and you've got more of this, what they call urban heat island effect.
Wow, I love doing these interviews because I get introduced to so many things I never thought of. Like, I never thought how much maybe city planning, or you at least talking with the city, goes into all this. When you think Henry Ford's health system, you think that you might be contained to this, this building and what's going on in that. But you're doing a fair amount of city, relations, talking to people to make change.
Right. I mean, my goal is to, have us walk the walk and then, get out and talk the talk too. So, we have to, this is a fairly new role for the health system, and I'm excited that our leadership put the resources in to bring on this position, and that I'm honored that they chose me to be able to do that. Um, but it's a great opportunity, I think, to leverage our status as a large employer and as a large healthcare provider to help influence some of those things outside. But a lot of my work is also internal, and we're a large health system. 5 hospitals across southeast and central Michigan. We've got 190 some ancillary facilities that are out there, buildings that we own or lease. And so it's a big effort to try to corral, our work and to try to figure out where we are and how do we reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. How do we do recycling, which has become a bigger challenge over the past 2 years. Of course, right as I started in my role, China announced that they were no longer going to take U.S. recycling. So, of course, the one thing that everybody wanted me to be able to do is increase recycling, and that's become even more challenging in the time that I've been here. But we're working on it, and that involves, getting partnerships with other groups and being involved in other groups to all be carrying the same message that we need more infrastructure to be more sustainable and to provide incentives to do those.
Yeah, and right now, we're talking about bikes, and we need to talk about the importance of, this time right now. We're in the pandemic. It's important for people to have good fitness and mentally and physically. Can we talk about where the bicycle plays a role in that, that part of this whole thing?
Absolutely. I mean, you saw, early on during the pandemic, um, I saw a stat from SEMCOG the other day that, or it wasn't the other day, I guess it was about 6 months ago, but the rate of park usage in Michigan was up 93% year over year, which just showed, when we were all in lockdown, the one thing that everybody could do was get out. And to the governor's credit, we left the state parks and metro parks open for people to access. And the usage was up 93% year over year, which is great. People were out. We need that connection. We need that connection to nature for our mental health, but we need that connection at least to even be physically seeing other people out there, even if you're socially distanced from them. Just that connection of, hey, there's another person out there walking, experiencing the same thing that I do. That's good for your mental health. Reduces isolation. The problem that I think we run into is that we have a lot of parks. We've got a lot of big parks where we can ride bikes and do those kinds of things. But in the cities and in communities that have had disinvestment in them for years, We don't have those connections. We don't, and we don't have access to the green space that we do in maybe some of the suburban areas. And a lot of folks who live in the city may not have access to a car to be able to get out there. So what we need to be doing is looking at how are we designing our cities so that we can, people can go out their front door, have their kids safely ride their bikes on their sidewalks or ride on a dedicated trail to get from their neighborhood to a park where they can go farther and play more and be, have more exposure to nature and the trees and all of that green space, because that's just good for our health, both physically and mentally. And it also creates a better sense of place for folks.
We're touching on a topic, that is really a hot button topic these days, which is equity. You know, um, we're throwing big words out: sustainability, equity. Equity plays a lot into this, and that's, is that part of the conversation when you go into these rooms? Does that come up?
Absolutely. I'm involved in a number of sustainable groups right now. And I will say that one of the things that is a running theme in all of the sustainability groups where we're trying to move the needle on sustainability is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Absolutely, environmental justice is like top on the list of things that we need to be focusing on. And one of the reasons why we're doing it, we know that, with climate change and pollution, those disproportionately impact communities of color in communities, or low income communities where you're citing, whether it's power plants or, other things near those highways go through, a lot of these communities, and there's a lot of exhaust from those that come through. So, and we've seen also during this time of COVID that, the disproportionate impact this virus has had on the African American community here in Michigan alone. I mean, African Americans make up 14% of the population. I think they're over 30, close to 40% of the total deaths that from COVID. Why is that? A lot of that has to do with their exposures, the exposures to pollution, which impacts their lungs, their inability to to access healthy foods or get exercise. We know that getting out and getting exercise helps combat, the symptoms and the problems associated with COVID, because you're able to increase your lung function, right? And the more your lungs are healthier, the better off you're going to be with a virus that's going to be attacking your lungs. So what do we need to do to make sure people are out there getting physically active? I know this year I committed, even though I was biking in my basement, I was making sure that I was keeping my lungs in shape this year, because I have asthma, or I had it as a kid. Unfortunately, it's kind of gone away, and I've done a good job of treating it. But I know I've got that in the back of my mind, and that the last thing I want is to have my lungs be impacted. So I want to make sure I'm out there, running. I stupidly, I was, New Year's Eve, I decided I was gonna. They said never again. I wasn't gonna do it. I did the Michigan half Ironman 2 years ago, and I said that was it. It was such a great race. I'm like, never. I'm not gonna do that again. Somehow this year I was farther ahead on my biking and running than I had been, and I don't know, maybe it was one too many drinks, and next thing you know, I signed up for another one. So I don't know. So now I'm stuck. My wife is rolling her eyes. What did you do? Sign up for another tryout, half Ironman? But we'll see. So now I guess I'm back into it again. And now you and I are going to be forced to ride bikes together, because I need somebody to go out training.
Well, I'll be on an e-bike trying to keep up with you. All right.
And hey, I don't care how you get out and bike, get out and walk, that kind of thing.
No, seriously. So how many, I mean, you're an avid cyclist, man. And when I say avid, how many?
Avid, but I get out a couple.
No, when I met you, the first thing you said was, I'm trying to do this bike ride and I'm looking to get a new bike. You're like, I think you were looking at a giant like triathlon bike or something. You were like, yeah. And I'm like, this guy's not joking around, man. And then you were like, let's go for a lap around the island. And I'm glad it rained, because you would have kicked my ass for sure, dude. But you are an inspiration, man. How much do you get on a ride, man? How many
Um,
miles did you do last year? How many miles you get in?
God, I have no idea. I don't really, I honestly don't keep track. Last year, not a lot, because last year was the break. I told my wife after the half Ironman that I did in Traverse City that I was going to take a break last year, and I was going to give up, take a break from triathlons and do focus on golf, because I love getting out and playing some golf. It I'll tell you what, it was the best decision I made last year because all the triathlons were canceled and the only sport that was really out there was golf. So I was like, yay, golf, this is great. So maybe that's why I jumped back into it. So last year, probably not a lot of bike riding. This year, I get on my trainer in the morning now that it's dark and it's been winter. I get on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and anywhere from I don't know. I don't go long. I do maybe 12, 15 miles on the weekdays. And then, I'm up to 20 now on the weekends. And then once I get outside, but it's on a trainer. So you know how that goes. I don't know if you've ever been on those,
Oh
but
yeah. Oh yeah.
it gets old fast.
So, we all this is going on. Let's talk. Let's come back to this, like getting people out on bikes. Um, right now, we're sort of in a phase where people, Texas has gone 100% open, and people are feeling like, I mean, like I said earlier, we're looking outside and we're seeing people on bikes. You know, should we still, and I know you're not necessarily the authority, but we do need to keep social distancing. We still need to keep masks on. I mean, this isn't like everybody it's over, right? I mean, we still need to maintain something.
Right. No, no, absolutely. I mean, this is not, this is no time to let our guard down, I don't think. We need to still be masking up, even with the vaccines coming out, we still need to be masking up. Um, but that doesn't mean you can't get out and ride your bike, and do, and get out and walk and interact with people from a distance. I know, I live in Northville, and we opened our downtown district, and that's been a great thing. But that's a perfect example of what I was talking about building for people and not cars. We shut down our main street and center street and made it a social district. Restaurants spilled out onto the street to be able to serve people. Northville downtown used to be dead. You used to walk down, it was a ghost town. People would be in the restaurants, not outside the restaurants. Now it's a destination. People come down there because it's fun to hang out and do that. Now we're all doing it with responsibly with masks and those kinds of things, and that's been great. But it just makes such a difference, just to be able to interact with people again. And we shut down the street, and they had a vote recently, and everybody loved, said keep going with it. We love this. So that's a if that isn't a testament, I don't know what is. And it just has really made it more of a destination. I think more downtowns and more cities can do more of that work.
Absolutely. Trust me. We were joking earlier. We just saw 10 people walk by the door, and that was probably the first time in a year we've seen that many people collectively walking, and the energy is just coming up. But we do need people to stay safe. Is there anything you want to tell people? I know you have to be, kind of on a line, but what can we tell people, about what's going down that can, for the future? What can we tell them?
Well, I think the one thing is, the vaccines are safe. They've been doing, a number of things. So get vaccinated, continue to wear a mask. Those are important things. Henry Ford Health System's got a great website, henryford.com/coronavirus, where there's a number of resources on there. A lot of frequently asked questions about the vaccine. So if you have questions about the vaccine and what does it mean, but there are good options out there. I'm very fortunate to work for a health system where I have been vaccinated. My wife's been vaccinated. She works in healthcare as well. So, we trust the vaccine, and I think people should be out there and getting it whenever possible to protect themselves and their loved ones. So those are a couple things that I would say. But again, continue to get out and be active, be healthy. And promote these things, promote things in your own community that are going to make it easier for people to get out and be active. Support the parks, get involved. I know if Detroit parks are currently doing a survey right now. I think you can go on their website to talk about how you utilize the parks and the rec centers. They're looking for feedback on that to help with planning. So I encourage people to stay involved in those kinds of things as well.
Man, I can't thank you enough, man. I like to do these sessions where I can try to give people a little bit of information as well as having fun. Like I said, we could talk all day about bikes. Did you ever end up getting that new bike you were looking for? Did you end up getting a tri bike? I don't know.
I didn't end up getting a tri bike. I ended up falling into a really nice road bike that I'm using now. And fortunately, that worked well for up in Traverse City up north where there's a lot of hills. So right now I got the road bike. I don't know. My wife will shoot me if I get another bike. So I got you know. She looked in our garage one day. She's like, "We have more bikes than people in here," and and I was like, "Well, yeah. What's wrong with that?" So
what I do, and I'm gonna
you know the right number of bikes to have, right?
N+1, baby. N+1.
N+1, or if you're married, it's D-1. You know what D-?
What is that?
The number of bikes less the one that's going to take you to get divorced. So that's
I tell you what, I'm giving away my secret, and my girlfriend's probably going to get mad, but what I do is I just make sure all the bikes are the same color. So, nothing sticks out. So she doesn't say, there's a red one in there now. No, I just go, no, I already had it. I mean, come on. They're all black. I mean, come on. So, Chip, thank you again for coming on. I know you are busy. You were in a conference before this, and I'm sure you're in a conference after this, man. Once again, anything you want to leave before I let you go? Because I want to make sure I covered everything.
No, it's all good. Like I said, Henry Ford website, henryford.com/coronavirus if you want information on that. So do that, but get out, ride bikes, right? We got to get out, do that, and promote, a greener communities for the health of all of us.
Absolutely. Am I going to be able to get you on an e-bike? Can I get you to try one out?
Sure. What? Absolutely.
That's what I like to hear.
We tried one together. We went, we did it. We did a little ride. I got to go out for a longer
little ride. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we got to get out.
We can go a longer ride.
Yep.
We can go longer.
We're going to do it. Okay.
All right.
Brother.
Sounds good.
Thank you for coming on, man.
All right,
have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
You.
All right. Good seeing you too, brother.
All right. Take care.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Chip Amoe, that is my homie, man. I can say that, these relationships that we build, they come through the bike, man. I tell people all the time, let the bike give you the experience and let it show you things and let it introduce you to new people and new social circles, man. So thank you, Chip, for coming on and hanging out with us. If you need any more of that information, go to the Henry Ford website. Find out everything you need to know about what's happening right now with COVID, with the vaccines, how you can get a vaccine, all that stuff. Before you go, I got to do my thing, which is, of course, thank my sponsors. Loomis Helmets, those guys over my shoulder right there. Look, I got it right. I actually pointed in the right direction, right? I'm learning these things. It has 77 programmable things that you can put on the screen, including RiDetroit Live, if you see there. My other sponsors, Griffin Claw Brewing. Of course, Electric Avenue Bikes, which houses this fantastic show. American Cycle and Fitness. Wingman Water. And baby, we got it on tap. We got the Purple Power Up from Tapped Beverages. We got it here in the shop. I'm loving it. It's delicious, but I gotta admit, I'm not 100% sold on the name. So if you want to drop some name suggestions, possibly in the comments, please do. We're out here trying to do the best we can. Also, this is, believe it or not, my final Saturday doing Murals in the Market Live. We've got surprises for you. I'm not done, but we're taking a break. So tune in this Saturday for my final Murals in the Market Live, Saturday at 11 a.m. with Dan Arman, who is one of the creative directors over at Murals in the Market, man. It's not a sad day. Trust me. We got some news for you. It's just a little bit of a break, all right? I can't thank my guests enough. Am I forgetting anything? Besides, I said smash the subscribe button like 10 times. Good to go? Congratulations, everybody. We'll see you next week.